welcome back to the the last word on geopolitical analysis in Europe and in the wider world, and a channel dedicated to the preservation of European culture, law, values, and religions. So today, as we move into the middle of February, the current geopolitical tensions we notice are in the Middle East, which is very much a escalatory situation. We have the Ayatollah in Iran, the Iranian president, and the Iranian foreign minister all issuing escalatory rhetoric in regards to the placement of the United States aircraft carrier there just off the Arabian Sea in the Middle East, and most recently the prospect of Donald Trump sending a second aircraft carrier to relocate from the Caribbean to the Arabian Greater Peninsula and Sea. So this situation very much has a potential to escalate and get out of control. Originally, the US and Donald Trump stated that the aircraft carrier and support was there to help the Iranian people who stood up in protest against the authoritarian regime. And as a result of the protests, the people were silenced, and tens of thousands of people we heard about were killed, injured, and the Iranian people remain still without internet access, phone access, and other basic communications to carry out business. And there's obviously been huge amounts of humanitarian violations at all levels of society, including detention centers, judiciary, police, the various fractions of the Iranian militia. So at this stage, the protests somewhat have faded due to the severe suppression of the people by the regime, and talks are taking place between America and the Iranian regime leaders. Now, this situation has the potential within seconds to minutes to hours to days to totally escalate and what could be something far greater than we saw back in June, when both Israel and the United States launched attacks to significantly set back the Iranian nuclear regime and arsenal of potential nuclear weapons. Now, as far as the talks are going on now, we see that America is looking to de-risk further nuclear activity, and Israel is looking for also potential destruction of the vast amounts of Iranian missiles. We saw last time how this operation carried out, and the results was that the Iranian military was significantly set back and unable to respond after the initial onslaught attacks from both Israel and then America. So we wouldn't be surprised this time if there was a preliminary attack by Iran before it lost its potential to attack the US in that region, or Israel. So at this stage, it's very tense, the situation. As I said, I mean, one or two things could happen. Iran could attack America, or America could decide that the talks are not yielding any results in terms of stopping the nuclear possible uranium enrichment in Iran, and removing the threat to Israel, and restoring basic fundamental rights to the Iranian people. Most recently, we saw at the Munich Security Conference, thousands of protesters coming out in favor of the exiled Prince of Iran and looking for a regime change and calling upon the America to implement this regime change. We notice here that the Iranians are calling on the US, which in the past have actually, we would seem some way ironical in that America's often been called the enemy of Iran by the Iranian people, but this time it does seem like they are calling on the US to restore basic normalities of life, rather than looking at similar societies and similar cultures in that region, or Muslim or Islamic states, for their support, which it seems to be just like calling into a vacuum. So they are looking for American support, and we do note that. So as I said, this situation has the potential for escalation at any minute, and we wouldn't be surprised if Iran did initiate a preemptive attack. Now, other things at the Munich Security Conference we noticed were that the Minister for State, Marco Rubio, came out more in favor of Europe, calling America a child of Europe. This comes after numerous statements in the past where America seems to be alienating Europe from America and testing the waters over in Greenland and insisting on Greenland being part of the United States. So we would view this with positivity, but we would wait for more to come, as this is very this is a one-off statement really in a large in months and months of rhetoric that were not favorable to Europe. So we would welcome that statement, but we would reserve a future right to just hold things in balance and see what happens in the near future. As far as Russia and Ukraine is concerned, I did see that I think there was the anniversary of the Russian opposition leader that was killed in custody in a Russian jail, Alexei Navalny, if I have that right. So that just one further change. Just outlines the oppressive nature of the Russian regime, where opposition parties, opposition speakers are silenced and aren't afforded basic humanitarian rights in custody, and are in fact, tragically, where the 99% of the evidence has it that he was assassinated in custody. Just a further note before I finish up here in my geopolitical analysis, as I was referring to NATO and European, as obviously because NATO has become a lot more fractious and something less foolproof in the last while, European states need to come together and make sure that alternative security guarantees are in place, just in case this NATO alliance, which has seemed less certain in the last few months than it was obviously over the years, European states need to be ready for either within the European Union, Schengen, just for a collective security agreement on top of the current NATO agreement. So my latest geopolitical analysis is on my website, thelasteuropean.com. Be sure to check that out. And I also have a member section where you can become a member, and different tiers of members depending on what category and what level you wish to get involved in. So that's the current analysis for today. Be sure to check the website, my X, and my latest updates for further geopolitical analysis that always puts Europe first.